Hey guys, Sean Terry here. What is up? Flip2Freedom.com. Headed to a drive-by appointment, which I'll talk about here in a second. Why do drive-bys and how to handle drive-bys when you get an appointment come in where the seller is out of state. How do you handle it? What's the best way to do it? All right, here's the question. So you get a lead that comes in, you have an out-of-state owner, they have a house that is, obviously a house in the market, and they have someone living in the house. What do you do? Let's go. So what do you do with that particular deal? What is the best way to handle it so you can get that deal under contract? All right, so first off, so I got this lead. I literally just got it, and seller wants to sell. And apparently, here's the situation. I got the lead sheet right here. Out of state, stepdaughter lives in the property, right? So stepdaughter lives in the property. So now you got family that's actually in this property, but moving out at the end of the month, and he wants to pay off the mortgage and walk away with some cash, right? So the mortgage owed on the property, I think it's like 80 grand. I think it's like 80 or 90 grand or so. So basically the seller wants to sell the property, get rid of it, and be able to get some cash in their pocket. Now, here's an interesting thing that is important. Seller said, quote, they have an offer for $150,000, but the buyer seems sketchy, right? The buyer seems sketchy and he's not confident and he doesn't really want to take the offer. Quote, right? So one thing is when we're dealing with sellers, they will create what's called the bogey, right? Create the bogey. And the bogey is another offer, right? Oh, I have another offer at so-and-so number. Now, we got two different options, right? You can, and what I try to do in this particular scenario is find out about the offer. Is the offer written? Who's the offer from? Is it a cash offer? Is it a finance offer? Are you paying all closing costs? I'll try to get as much information about the offer as possible. So for an example, for this particular appointment right here that I'm going on, seller said they have an offer for $150, right? So I don't know anything about this offer. So what's going to happen is I am going to, now since the seller's out of state, I'm going to call him once I get to the property. I'm going to try to find out about this offer. Now, we have OfferPad and we have Open Door in our market right here. And Open Door and OfferPad, they offer a higher amount, but they have a significant amount of fees built in. And then they come out when they inspect the property, they'll take a repair budget off that number. So on a typical $150,000, $200,000 house, they'll put in a $24,000 fee. So if a seller says, hey, I got a $150,000 offer, there might be a $20,000 fee, and they haven't even got the repair budget yet, right? So what happens is, in this particular case, you got two different choices. You can believe the bogey, or you can't. Now, if the bogey doesn't make sense, for an example, for this guy right here, he's saying and I think the house is worth $175 maybe to $190 max, right? $175 to $190. Well, listen, I know as well as you know, there is no cash offer out there that's going to buy a property that needs fix up, for $150,000. You know as well as I know, they're not going to do it. So that's a bogey, right? When's a good startup budget for a wholesale company? A good startup budget, if you're starting brand new, invest $1,000 in the postcards, mail them out, make offers on every single lead that you got coming in, and then once you get a contract and you flip it, you make X amount of dollars, 10 grand per se, then you reinvest 25% back into marketing, 25%. So you reinvest that 25% back into marketing. and you can you can go ramp it up from there. What's my opinion on the government shutdown? Well, believe me, I live in Phoenix, and I believe in borders, right? You know, I have a wall around my house. You know, if someone goes to jail, a jail has walls, right? You know, to keep people in, right? Well, the bottom line is we have walls to protect our borders, and you know, I think the whole stupid political thing about it is dumb, you know, but whatever. I mean, Trump can do what he wants to do with that. I think he should hold firm and get the immigration issue. I believe 100% legal immigration. If someone wants to enter legally, boom, let them in. If they don't and they want to enter illegally, that's an issue. And if they have a way to get in easily, then I think they should stop that. So, okay, so great, thank you. How if it's not really. I mean, it's, you know, the only issue is going to be for retail sellers that are looking. Their buyer has maybe one of those, you know, U.S. loans or whatever. I don't even know what it's called. But what's up, JC in the house? So yeah, so I don't think so. So the bottom line is, do you believe the bogey? So I'm going to an appointment right now. Actually, really, I mean, the guy is out of state. I'm doing a drive-by on the property, and I'm going to call the seller once I get through the house. Once I kind of drive around, he's going to try to get me into the property to see if I can see it. His stepdaughter lives in the property, so it's a family situation, right? So the question becomes, how do you deal with an out-of-state owner? How do you get the property under contract? What's the best way to be able to do it and negotiate with the seller over the phone? I personally like to be at the house on the phone with the seller. Then I can snap some pictures, walk around the property, and even literally tell them what I see, right? I can tell them what I see at the property. That's how I like it best. Sometimes it doesn't work that way. So for this particular lead that came in here in Glendale that I'm going to right now, you know, he says that he has $150,000 offer in place, which I know for a fact that's a bogey, right? So, you know, I don't, you know, if the bogey doesn't make sense, and you can't find out significant information about the offer, right? If they go, oh no, it's just some guy that offered 120, and if you know the numbers don't work, right? Don't come up or match the offer. So this guy has $150,000 and the house is worth maybe $185,000. There is no way someone's going to pay cash at $150,000 unless it's open door or offer pad and they have this gigantic $25,000 fee built in to get down to a a lower number. So the bottom line is in that situation is don't believe the bogey. It also now when you're selling a property to a buyer, right? And you have multiple people calling in, you want to create the bogey, right? To say, hey, listen, I got other offers at higher prices, or I've got someone comes in and tries to negotiate below your number. Then in that particular case, just say, hey, we got offers at higher number. If you want it today, it's going to be X price. You know, otherwise, maybe if we have it a week from now, I'll be happy to lower the price. You know, otherwise, more than likely it'll be sold in the next 24 to 48 hours. You know, so and then someone will jump up and be able to step up and buy that property. So, you know, when we're selling properties, we create bogeys, and a lot of times sellers do that to us, and they create a bogey, and then we have a choice to either match that bogey or not. Now, I was on the appointment, was it last week? Seller had a contract in hand, but didn't tell me. So I had to come out with a low offer. Then I had to pivot from that low offer to a higher number. And then be able to justify my higher number but then I came up above that offer price and the number still made sense, and there was still a $15,000 deal to be able to get it at that higher price. So this particular lead, house needs work, ex-stepson, the one who was living, was given the deal and rent because he was going to remodel the house, but never happened. House needs new flooring, cabinets, so it needs a whole thing, patio around the house, also no HOA, solely agreed to do everything. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. I'm doing a drive-by on this one. I'm calling the guy as soon as I get there. I'm going to see if he can get me in to look at the property. Let's see if we get an email address for the seller. So that's where I'm headed now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be there probably like right now. I'm coming up to my turn here. So that's how you deal with these out-of-state owners that own properties, and you get them under contract. You got to actually be there and look at the property and get them on the phone. So you schedule an appointment, which is the important part, right? So you want to schedule the appointment with the seller, as if it's like you're going on an appointment, to actually meet the seller at the house. And when you do that, a lot of people, what they'll do is like, oh, okay, well, I'll go drive by the house and I'll call you. And they never schedule an appointment. They never have, anything on the books. And what happens, the seller, in this particular case, they're going to keep looking. They want to find someone they can connect with. They want to find someone they can build a relationship, so they can stop looking. Now, think about it. They're waking up in the morning, right? And they have their to-do list. And their to-do list is to literally check off. They want to check off the things on their to-do list. One thing on the guy's to-do list, right, is I got to sell my house, right? So he calls up and he talks to one guy, and the guy says, hey, yeah, I'll do a drive-by and I'll call you back. Well, there's he didn't really solve the problem. He didn't really check that off his list. Another guy he calls up me and says, hey, we're highly interested. We bought properties in the neighborhood before. I kind of know exactly what's going on in there, and we're actually happen to be looking for properties right now as we speak. Here's my turn. And then he says, listen, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over there at 1:00, and I'm going to go there and I'm going to call you from the property, and I'm going to kind of give you my opinion, what I see in the neighborhood. I'm going to drive around and then kind of get a feel of what's happening in the property. Now, remember, you're the eyes and ears, the real eyes and ears for what is happening. Now think about it. They have a tenant that lives in the property. Maybe the property's vacant. In this particular case, the stepdaughter is living in the property. So the stepdaughter's living in the property. So maybe she's telling him the whole truth or part of the truth or not all the truth. The bottom line is that what my goal is to get him on the phone, build a rapport with him, be his eyes and ears, and I typically do 2 calls. I'm not going to call him right now and make an actual offer. I've got to go back and I'm going to schedule another appointment. So what I'll do is say, listen, now that I've driven the neighborhood, let's give me a little time. I'm going to run back to the office. I'm going to pull some numbers. I'm going to figure out the highest number we can offer. Obviously, it's going to be subject to me looking at the property, getting inside, trying to understand the repairs needed to get this property up to 2019 standards. I said, but what I'm going to do is let me call you in an hour. I'll call you at 2:00 or I'll call you at 2:30. And in that hour, I will give you an exact number I can pay, subject to me looking at the property. And if we all feel comfortable, we can move forward and get that done. Does that sound fair? So what happens is now with this seller, he can now check this off his list because now he's got someone actively pursuing that's going to give him a number, give him an offer. So if he knows he's got an offer coming, he's not going to turn around and continue calling other competitors in our business because now he checked off his list, and now he can go back to drinking beer. He can go back to doing whatever he's doing. He can go back, and now his wife goes, honey, did you sell the house? And you're going, yeah, hey, I sold it. And yeah, I got a guy going out there today. He's giving me a contract on it. He's got it off his list. He's good, right? So that's what we do. And a lot of time, people don't do that. All they do is they just call them up and say, hey, I'll call you back after I drive by the property, and they lose the deal. Some of the best deals you can get are ones that are some of the best deals you get are ones that where you have an out-of-state owner that is completely disconnected from the house whatsoever, right? So here's the neighborhood here. So check this out. Here's the actual neighborhood right here. You can see the houses. I mean, these look like 180, 190,000 houses here in Phoenix, AZ. But that's the houses. So what I'm doing right now is I'm finding this house right now. And what I'm going to do is not only find this house, I'm actually going to drive the comps, and I'm going to see, what's with this. Do you still set an appointment for the seller that wants retail for the house that is currently listed with a realtor? The house's owner contractor? Nah, probably not, right? I am not going to, I'm not going to set a house with a seller. And basically, here's what I'm telling the seller. And here's, okay. So here's what I'm telling the seller. A house that wants retail, I usually tell a seller, so listen, here's where I can bring value to you. If you need to sell your house and you want to move it and you want to sell it and you want to sell it quickly and you don't want to have people walk through your house anymore, if you don't want to have, I'll give you an example. I talked to a seller yesterday, got me on the phone with a seller, and I basically told this lady that, and she goes, well, I'm kind of looking for this number and this, that, and the other. I said, listen, I'm the guy that you call when you need to sell your house. I'm the guy that can come in, I can move quickly, I can get the deal done, I can, I can pay for closing costs, but I can get you out of your property quickly. But I'm not the guy that's going to pay retail for the property because there's too many other properties on the market. I do retail, and I'm not a retail guy. So if you need to sell it quickie, and the key word there, Mr. Seller, Miss Seller, is need. If you need to sell your property quickly, then I'm your guy. I said, otherwise, I highly suggest that you keep it listed, and you do it that way. So, and what happens if they say, well, listen, you know what, just give me an offer. I really want to sell the property. I want to get done with this thing. Just give me an offer. Boom. Then you're done. Then you can turn around. Now they want the offer. And guess what? There's a good chance they will take it. And now it sets you up to make that lower offer price. There's too much light coming in on here. What am I doing here? Answer one more question. I got to go. Do you think about the something for what? Michigan mark for that. Okay. Who's dealing with me? Anyways, I can't see it because there's too much light in here. So what I'm gonna do is I gotta get off. I gotta go look at this house, call this guy, and build a rapport with him. But I'm gonna get back on with you guys after this right here, and we'll chat to kind of see what happened. So, all right.